There we go. Greetings. Hi, is DLE Rich, LLC. I am also Alicia Diamond, and I am the owner, CEO, and creator of DLE Rich. And today I just wanted to talk about mental health and the importance of mental health and when and why you want to get help with your mental health. And I just want to start by saying thank you. Thank you to all of my supporters. Thank you to everyone who listens to my advice, those who takes my advice. Thank you so much. Those who support my business. Gratitude to you. Those who give me advice and those who listen to me. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful for you. Thank you. All right, hold up. So I ain't got to keep looking up. That's better. I'm a shorty. And this is better. Instead of having to keep looking up, I'm not going to look up. I'm going to forget. But anyways, I want to talk about mental health first. I want to show my books here. This was my very first journal. I started this journal at the age of 30. I would say about the age of 30. I started this journal, and it's pretty full. It's a pretty full journal. And it also has books in here that I've started and written. I've written some books. I just never published it because I don't know. I didn't think it had a purpose, but I don't know. Maybe it does. This is a picture that I made. I drew, actually. I drew this picture. Um, and I'm showing this because this is the things that I did to take myself away from the old version that I used to be and to change my mindset and the way that I was living. So it just started out actually. Let me just walk through this book just a little bit. It started out with just finding positive words, affirmations in a sense, and I put a deep message here and a message here for myself. These messages were like small reminders for me to remember how to move forward. And I'll just read this one is I am in love with the all. The all love is in me. I am a part of the all. The all is a part of me. I am one with the all. The all is one with me. I can succeed with the all and fail as an individual. I can be all I wish in the all as long as my wish is to stay in the all. The all can, I can, the all does, I do. I am never alone. And then another one is Edupe Ariko Babawa. And it means thank you in the spirit of our ancestors. It's a healing time. Think love, think green. These are just small reminders that I wrote in my journal for myself. Another one is in this moment, in challenging moments, I am at peace because peace is my natural state. And a reminder is to stay away from conflicts of interest. And so these little notes were for me to remember and remind myself to start making changes. I also had a ancestor prayer, and then I also had another big message here. This was not a little message. This was a big message. Do one thing 20 different ways. Follow your passion, right? Don't do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. That's insanity. But you can do one thing 20 different times. You know what I'm saying? So that's always a great thing to do. I also came up with business names. So this is not my first time really trying to start a business, or actually starting a business. But at this time, I had just was only getting the idea of it, and I was like looking up different ways of how to make money online, and I had stumbled on basically an online store. This is how I came up with my business, my online shop. But I recognized, well, not recognized, I had learned that crystals can help with mental health. So once I learned that, I decided that my mental health shop would be in the area of crystals and mental health because I didn't see anyone else doing that. And so therefore, it became a great opportunity for myself because here I am going into 6 years of business. So for anyone who's wondering why should you listen to me, that is why I started my business. I don't have a high school diploma, just being honest. I don't, but I have 20 years of work history. And I learned a lot working in the food and beverage industry. And I learned a lot working in different forms of sales, if you think about it, being a cashier and things like that. So I learned a lot. My grandmother, she also prepared me for the world. She would set us up on the side and she would have us selling things. And so this is how I learned how to market, I guess you could say. But that's just like some backstory on me, who I am, where I come from, what I do. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, if you don't know that. And my sister, she took her life, 11 years ago. And so that was like my wake up call, the eye opener for me to take mental health very serious and to understand it, overstand it, understand what it is fully. It took a while for me to really get a grasp of what mental health is, but it's different forms of mental disorders and illnesses. And so me personally, I focus on the health aspect of it. So the whole thing, not just the illness or the disorder, but also how to overcome these things and how to manage it better. Uh, and like I said, so one thing I started doing was journaling because that was something I read a lot about was, if you want to change your mind, you need to change your ways, right? Change the way that you think. And I would never really journal. That was something I never thought that I would be doing. So I decided to start doing it. And I did. And I journaled so much into here. Like, here's another picture that I sketched, just showing off some of my art. Uh, and then this is symptoms of dissociative identity disorder. And so I'll read about that, right? Because symptoms of identity disorder is also known as multiple personality disorder. And so, hold up. All right, trying to see if I am continuing this from another page because I tend to do that. I made this really confusing on purpose, so no one can like just heist my work. But yeah, so this dissociative identity disorder, in the symptoms in adults, it can be pain, physical and mental pain. You can experience lost time, confusion, two or more alters, feelings of detachment, disassociation, memory gaps. You forget a lot, maybe out of character behavior, changing a bit. And changing is not always bad, but with dissociative identity disorder, you tend to change very often. One day you are one way, the next day you are another way. And maybe not even the days are changing, but more so just throughout the day, right? One minute you could be okay, next minute you're speaking with someone, the next thing you know, you're like high alert, ready to react right in a manner, in a way that you normally wouldn't. So that would be like what they mean by character behavior changes, out of character behavior, like maybe possibly being over aggressive, more aggressive than normally. And as a result of the alternate identities of being in control, experiencing emotional neglect, sexual abuse, violence, higher risk of developing dissociative identity disorder if you have experienced these things. And so it is common for coping mechanisms for extreme stress and trauma, especially in the RENs. Seven other dissociative identity disorders conditions is to DID childhood, or the RENs is most common time to develop it. So uh, a lot of times individuals who have been through some form of childhood or REN trauma, we'll call it excessive abuse at a minor age, then you are more likely to develop this dissociative identity disorder. It is most common to develop at a young age. Ethnicity, gender, social background is most significant. Risk factor is physical, emotional, and sexual abuse during childhood, during your minor years ages. Detaching from reality shields the host, meaning you, the main. I'm gonna say it, the main character, okay? Um, the host, from pain, physical and mental experiences, alter experiences, trauma, leaving the person with no little memory of it. So when you are changing in and out of your identity, you will definitely have lost a memory. Maybe you don't remember what you said, what you did, things like that. So that is a possibility. You can also of it. Okay, and so then moving on from that, this is not a end, but we're just moving on from that part. Then there is teasing, um, slings, restraints, cages, torture, my masturbation, cyber sex, kink, swapping, darkness, sadness, strangeness, vulnerable, curve of the hip, scenes of. Hold on, wait a minute. Okay, so this is like when you have an altered personality. This personality could be into these type of things while the host is not. So that is, let me clearing that up so you can understand what I'm reading and what I'm saying here. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be things that you will experience that will let you know that you are experiencing dissociative identity disorder. As far as like the symptoms, these what I am naming is detailed alterations in your character that one may experience. And so you you get the emotion disagreements, you get grudges, insecurity, dissociative identity disorder, two or more personalities, uh is main personality, the host, which is passive, um dependent, depressed, the alter personality, the ego, which like I was just reading would be altered into these type of things. Different ages or genders exhibit different moods and preferences, so one of your identities could actually be a younger age than what the host is actually truly is, due to what type of trauma that they experience. When they go into alter personalities, these personalities can also be different genders. And let's keep going here. Exhibits different moods and preferences, so they can be experiencing also being a different gender, but also having a altered sexual attraction. This is just things that happen. Ego takes the turn being in control when the personality is not in control. it is unaware of what is happening. Symptoms have a person's quality of life can vary, depends on the number of alters they have, social situations, health conditions, and mental health. So I should have led with this page actually. But basically is what it's saying is that this during this time, uh or not during this time, but you can have more than just two personalities. That's what I just read here. You can have various ones, so you can have four, five, six, even more than that. And these personalities will have different characteristic traits, and they will uh basically react differently to different social situations and have different health conditions. So your personality, one of them can actually experience health conditions such as, diseases and illnesses. All right. And so that was just like my first, this was just like my first notes probably taken on dissociative identity disorder, DID. That's the short term for it, DID. And so then you also have personality disorders, which are this dimensional models for personality disorder: general personality disorder, cluster A personality disorder, paranoia personality disorders, schizoid personality disorder, schizo shoot, I think that says schizotypical personality disorder, cluster uh, B. So there's a difference, A and B, okay? Personality disorders. And there's also antisocial disorder, personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder. And there's a lot of people experiencing that these days. Cluster C, there's an A, B, and C of the cluster. I think I may have took some notes so we can get into it. If not, you can always use Google. AI's out there as well. Then you have dependent personality disorder, someone who is dependent. And then you have obsessive compulsive disorder, which is OCD. Other personality disorders as well. I'm trying to drink some tea. There we go. All right. And so you have personality change due to another medical condition. So these are numbers, numerous amounts, I should be saying, of personality disorders. It's never just singled down to one thing. People experience all these different things based off of their trauma and what happened and the conditions of that their environment and things like that can, it'll determine which tier you'll fall in, basically what they'll categorize you as, right? But we are all more than these mental disorders that they say. Let me say that when we are going through these things, we're just experiencing it. These things do not make up who we are eternally, authentically, soulfully. It does not define who we are. These things, trauma happens to us so that they can alter our true selves or who we truly are. And so just keep going into this right here. um Hypersexuality is a common side effects of sexual trauma, in as in avoiding sex altogether for individuals who don't know. So if you've been sexually abused, depending on who and what has happened to you, you may over become hypersexual, or you may not like it at all. Is no one can determine for the individual. The individual will determine based off of their trauma, the traumatic event that they have experienced. And so the brain becomes compulsive about undoing trauma. And so caused by dementia, misreading of social cues, misstimulating the persistence of learned behavior after other behaviors have been lost, caused by post-traumatic stress disorder. In women, they tend to manifest themselves in several distinct ways. Hyperarousal, that is one. Oh, sure, y'all, this was special. I put a paper clip on this section. Quit playing. I'm gonna put it back on there when I get done. I told y'all, like, I definitely, took a lot of interest into mental health and learning what that really truly is, not just for myself, but for others as well, because I can't heal anybody and I can't tell anybody when to heal and when to get over anything. That is up for them to decide when. But just remember that, we only get the one life, the one experience. And so you don't want to waste a lifetime on getting over something that you can accept tunes, come to tunes with it, accept it, and move forward. It's just up to what you are capable of doing mentally and emotionally. Let me continue. Hold on. Let me stop, and go back here. So the seven distinctive ways, right? The distinctive ways women manifest these hypersexuality personality or the hypersexuality symptoms in a post-traumatic stress. So with post-traumatic stress disorder, sometimes you will start to experience multiple other disorders along with that. So here you'll hear me talk about multiple of them because I've experienced more than just post-traumatic stress disorder in my lifetime. I've also experienced dissociative identity disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder. I've also experienced full detachment from others, also known as attachment disorder. Um, and I've also experienced what was the other one that they said? Personality changes, definitely. And then we'll just keep moving forward here. So basically, these are the several distinct ways. Hyperarousal is one of them. You get jitteries and jumpy. Your body is always tense and alert. It's amplified, startled responses is the most noticeable eternal sign that PTSD is at play. Mental ill causes. And let me say this disclaimer: I am not a licensed physician. I'm not a licensed therapist. I am someone who experienced these things, and I decided to learn what I was experiencing so that I could take control of my life and change things about myself that I was having trouble with. So that is my disclaimer. My business is what I do. What I can say, I am licensed, and I am licensed in being a holistic healer, what they call a spiritual healer. I did get certified for that, and I am that. I'm also a yoga instructor as well. So these are the things I do have some certificates with, but I didn't get certified. I also am a certified life coach as well. I don't really broadcast that because as I got the certificate, I thought to myself, what the hell is a life coach? So I don't really broadcast it, but I have that to say that I took the time to learn, just really how to engage and interact with someone who is looking to make life changes. And also, like myself, I have been there as well. So I'm not the one to just say what, a person should do or tell them what to do without actually being in the hot seat myself, which I have been. And so these are things that I've researched and I took notes and I kept these notes. And so now I'm sharing it with you all. I'm sharing it with the world. So please do not take my information and run with it, and think that you're gonna be able to change your life with it. You definitely want to come to me and let's work together and creating your own system for yourself, right? To help you, because this helped me does not mean that it's going to help you. So that's what my business is built about. I have so many things, like I have journals and things like that I am willing to share with you all, that you can have, you can get these things from me, and you can utilize these things and apply these things to yourself, and work forward into moving into a more successful life that you want and you desire, which you deserve. If you know that you are a good person, you deserve to have a good life. So definitely, reach out to me. I'm here. I have my website, diamonddealsthatheals.com. It is powered by Wix. It is a secure website. I have subscriptions on there, not just products, but I also have blogs and different things like that. You can email me. We can engage and speak with one another, and see if I have anything that will help you get on your healing journey sooner than later. All right, so mental illness causes can exist as a sign of bipolar disorder or its own. Okay, so compulsive sexual disorder or sexual addiction. Hypersexuality is described as a dysfunctional preoccupation with sexual fantasies, urges, or behaviors that are difficult to control. ADHD or depression, um, emotional instability, and anxiety. Two reported sexual symptoms of ADHD are hypersexuality and hyposexuality. Symptoms of hypersexuality disorder slash sex addiction is exclusive time. Why did I write I see? Consumed by sexual fantasies and urges, and by planning for and engaging in sexual behavior. Number two is repetitively engaging in these sexual fantasy urges and in being a behavior and responses to dysphoric mood states, anxiety, depression, boredom, irritability. Number three is repetitively engaging in sexual fantasy urges and our behavior and responding to stressful life events. Number four, repetitive but unsuccessful effects to control or significantly reduce these sexual fantasies, urges, and behaviors. Um, Number five, sexual behaviors while disregarding the risk of physical or emotional harm to self and others. A person experienced clinically significant personal distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of functional associated with the frequencies and intensities of these sexual fantasies and urges and behaviors. So you may experience extreme masturbation, pornography, sexual behaviors with consenting adults, cyber sex, telephone sex, and strip club. All of these type of things is signs of hypersexuality behavior, and many develop this disorder, and it also said hypo sexual disorder. These things, you experience these things, you is definitely experiencing as well the post-traumatic stress disorder, the dissociative identity disorder, or other personalities disorders. And just because you are experiencing these things does not mean that you cannot uh, start a healing journey and begin to heal from these things. I do not suffer from these things anymore. Once I read and learned what these things were, I was able to start getting control over myself and making changes that were necessary for myself. I had learned and understood that the younger me and the way that I was conducting my life and my behaviors that I was doing was unhealthy, and it was toxic, and it was becoming harmful to myself and others. And once I realized that, I was like, you know what? I can share this information with others, because others, once one is able to accept the truth about themselves, you can start to heal. You can start to move forward on a healing journey. Denial is one reason why a lot of people is experiencing high levels of mental health disorders and illnesses, is because one is in denial with it. Once I accepted it, I was able to correct it. So what is psychologically conduct, scientific studies of behaviors and brain functions observed, interviews and surveys, individuals identifying psychological, emotional behaviors and excuse me, behaviors or organizational issues and diagnose disorders. So this is just like I said, my small research of things. I wanted to understand what my brain had experienced during these traumatic events. I was young when these things was happening to me, and I have grown so much from these things and healed so much. And I know sometimes I have like loved ones, relatives and stuff, and they really don't get what I really experience. And what I mean by that is that, like, they often will say things like, well, me too, that happened to me too. But I never compare my trauma to others, because although the acts may have been exactly alike with different individuals or even the same, what the individual experience at that time is different. For a minor, with a minor, someone under the age of 18, as respectfully some say 16, but 18. Normally during that age of 18, one is in a state of wanting to be intimate, at least with their mates if they have one. But prior to that, as a minor, younger than that, that is something you really don't desire. You really don't desire that. And so when someone forces that on you and you don't even desire it, it's not an urge or craving something that you want, the impact is like getting hit by a bus. Now that I can say, I have done some research on that too, because I wanted to understand what I was experiencing and why was it so hard for me to get over it for so long. Why I could not talk to my parents about it. Why, did I keep it a secret for so long and things like that. And when I understood the impact, right, the impact of it, a minor being forced to engage in a sexual act with an adult is like, an adult being hit by a bus, not a minor, an adult. So just imagine you big, you full grown adults, walking in front of a bus and you get hit by that. Disclaimer, this is just an example, a story. I'm just trying to give some context to what I'm talking about. But an adult taking an impact like that, you're gonna go in the hospital. You may or may not survive that. And if you survive, pieces of you eternally may not recover. And so that is the what a minor experience when an adult is forcing themselves on them. And I don't like to compare, the horrific, traumatic situations that people go through. But I will say, based off of like study and research, um, due to the nature of it and things like that, if it's like molestation, one is more likely to recover from that versus someone who has been full on abused and penetrated. It's going to take them a lot longer to get over that. And that's what I've, just from researching and understand. I also understand that over time, especially just like with myself, I couldn't talk about it when it first happened, but at 19, 5 years later, I was able to talk about it because time passed and I was showing these behavior issues and disorders and things like that. I was acting it out, but I wasn't talking about it. And eventually, I had to talk about it. I didn't even work to start getting over it until I was over the age of 25, until I was actually 31. The age of 31 is when I realized that, I was suffering from a lot of mental illnesses and disorders. By the age of 33, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make some changes though. I'm 38 now. So here we are 5 years later. I'm like, no, I'm not experiencing these things like that anymore. Like today, I did have some anxiety to the context of a conversation that I was getting forced into. I didn't even want to have the conversation. This other person wanted to have the conversation. They wanted to force me into the conversation. And I started to sweat and all these things. I said, wait a minute. I have boundaries. We should set boundaries. I have boundaries. And I set my boundary. I won't say in detail how I set my boundary here, but it is there. And that line cannot be crossed anymore because I've set my boundary. And I encourage everybody to set boundaries. But remember, when setting boundaries, make sure you are not the one crossing other people's boundaries. Because that happens where you think you're the one setting boundaries, but you're the one crossing them. So I digress with that. I digress. Let's keep going with actual information that I have that I took notes on. Disclaimer: I am not a licensed therapist, right? I am not a licensed therapist, but I am a certified spiritual healer. What that means is I took a course and I took a lot of time to, learn about the how would one say spiritual side of things and how we work eternally, mentally and emotionally, dealing with mental health and things like that. So, I have, took some time to learn some things, but as far as like systematic therapy, I have not taken the time to get into that. And so let's keep going. Let's keep going. So the major branches of psychology. This is some good information that I thought was good anyway when I read it. So I took notes on it, and I want to share with you all. So here's the notes that I took on it. The major branches of psychology. There's no number with this. Excuse me. There's no number. So behavior, cognitiveness, development, personality, social, biological, and psychosocial. Okay. And then when it's I noted next to cognitive, right? Next to cognitive, there's autism. I think I left out the T, but excuse me, PTSD, dementia, and then ADD or ADHD. Sometimes those two are kind of like a slash with one another. I feel I experienced both of them, and I still do sometimes to this day. But I'm getting better. This book is definitely proof of getting better because the more notes that I take, the more I can focus and not experience these experiences of ADD and ADHD. So there's exercises you can do to help heal yourself. Heal the brain, the neurotransmitters, right? I'm going to say this and then I'm going to finish reading. When you go through unwanted physical abuse, whether it's sexual or physical, when you experience those things, the neurotransmitters in your brain tends to burn out, especially when you are a minor and the brain is still developing as a child. Your neurotransmitters can burn out, and that affects the way the brain develops. And when the brain is affected by the way that it develops, this is how you start to experience mental disorders. Me personally, I didn't think that you can rebuild the neurotransmitters, but there's a secret out there. Been doing studies, I've been researching. I do know things like lion mace mushrooms and other herbs, right? Real life just herbs can help restore the neurotransmitters in the brain. So that's all I'm gonna share with that. If you want details in that, you gotta contact me. That's all I'm saying, because I am not licensed. And so with that being said, I can't be sitting up here online, making promises to individuals, and I don't have the back, the certificates and stuff. You know how technical society can be, right? But let's keep reading here. Personality, psychological is the branch. Psychology. Hold on. Personality, psychology is the branch of the thoughts patterns. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna tell us what it is. So I wrote down what it is. Psychology. So, personality psychology is the branch of the thought patterns, feelings, and behaviors that make each individual unique. Classic theories of personality and Erickson, uh, the what did I write? Probably no, I don't know what I wrote, but I'm gonna skip that word. It says Erickson, the blank of psychology and development. So he probably did the research and came up with the theories of it. So I think that's Erickson's theory. Man, I gotta write my stuff better, but can't nobody steal it. They can't read it. They can't steal it. All right, so Erickson's theories of psychology, of psychological development, personality, and psychologists might study how different factors such as genetics, parenting, and social experiments influence how personality development changes. Okay. Psychology is the branch of psychology that utilizes scientific methods to research the brain and behavior. Many of these techniques are also used in childhood development, or the REN's development to social issues. Experimental psychologists uh, work in wide varieties of settings, including colleges, university research centers, governments, and private businesses. All right, and so look like I didn't finish that, but you get the gist of the notes. And I can finish that. All I have to do is research the major branches of psychology, and then I'll get that, and you can too if you want to get the rest of it. I encourage people to uh definitely look into um mental health, as far as like what they if you someone who they had diagnosed with something, in a sense, then it's best to look into what they're diagnosing you with. Look into it yourself. Why not? It's good to do so. So what else? I know I got some more on dissociative identity disorder. It may not be in here. But yeah, that's my journal right there. That's my journal. And then I used to do podcasts on mental health. I know it is like on Spotify, things like that. And where I would talk about mental health, self help 101. That's how I got inspired to do my group on Facebook. I Choose Me, mentally, emotionally, and soulfully, right? Because life can be a mess, we can be a mess. And so once we start to choose ourselves and choose our healing journeys, we can begin to straighten things out, right? And at least exist in our mess, right? Because sometimes you can't even coexist with your mess. What time is it? Okay. So I'm gonna do 30 more minutes, and then I'm gonna get out of here because I gotta start my business live. And I'll probably come back with my business live for YouTube. That it is gonna be on Facebook for sure, but YouTube I don't really uh how would I say, I don't really stream a lot on YouTube, so I'll definitely try to get more into being on YouTube as well. So like major depression. This is another little notepad where I start taking mental health notes and stuff like that. Now this one, uh I was doing podcast episodes on here, and the podcast episodes I was talking about me personally, my mental health, and what I had been through. And so I'm not gonna recap the stories and stuff like that. I encourage some, you all to go and check out my podcast, if anything, and just listen to it, and maybe some of the things that I share on there, will help give you some insight on where you want to go with your healing journey. Because that's the whole purpose of why I'm doing what I'm doing, is because I want to inspire and encourage anyone, just the one, to start a healing journey if you haven't already. And then I'm also doing this to, reach out and meet those who are on their healing journey, who have begun it and is succeeding in it and want to share. And if you have started it, but maybe you're failing, hey, I'm here for you too. Right? It's just overall, if you on a healing journey, I'm here. I'm here. That's my point, my purpose here. So these tunes that I'm playing, these is my singing bowls. This is available on YouTube. So if you are watching me on YouTube and you really into the sound therapy, it's called Meditation Sound Bath Singing Bowls. And I posted it, and it doesn't have very many likes, but that's okay. Either way, it's so I can listen to my singing bowls without actually having to play them. I don't know if you all have been on YouTube lately trying to listen to, a frequency tone, and a commercial comes on. That really ruins the meditation. That like scared the crap out of me one night. I'm in a deep meditation, and next thing you know, I just, yeah, so are you ready to? I was like, no, I'm not. No way. And after that, I was like, I'm gonna make my own. And here's what I'm playing. That's what I made. So hope you all enjoy this. And major depression. Major depression is a lack of willpower. Persistent depression disorder, seasonal affective disorder, psycho psychotic depression disorder, postpartum depression, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, and situational depression. So these are all different types of depression that one may experience. And hold on, my light gone. The sun was out there, and then now it's like not there anymore. So let's turn the light on so it'd be nice and bright. you know. So identifying which depression you may have, what the cause is, right? And describe lack of willpower. So when I think of someone, or not even someone, myself, right? We'll always use me first, use myself first. When I think of me as being depressed, I think of that as not having my will. Like I'm low with the willpower, the chi, right? My life force, what drives me, what motivates me. Because when you are depressed, you don't have these things. You don't have an inspiration. You're not motivated to do anything. You're not desiring anything, when you're depressed. So that's why I said a lack of willpower. So if you're experiencing depression, breath work is awesome to do. Literally while you're there, like just being depressed. Like, depressed means sometimes you don't want to get out of bed, right? Or maybe that's not the type of depression you're experiencing. Maybe you're at the club a lot. Maybe you are drinking a lot. Maybe you are uh depressed, and you are how would one say, expressing your depression with lack of self-love for yourself. And so breath work can help with that a lot. I have a book on breath work, and it's called the Yogi Life, the Yogi Secret Breath, or something like that. It's a really old book. It's really, really old, and it's a really good book. And I've done some of the breath work exercises. I got to do them again, actually. But they're really good. They help build the chi up so that when you get angry, because when we get angry a lot, we're not breathing. We're not breathing, believe it or not. A lot of times when we're in unintentionally breathing, it's really slow. It's just enough to really live, but when you intentionally breathe in, it helps build that life force, that chi that is there in the solar plex chakra. So that's why you want to work on your willpower, because you want to build that up. When you build that up, you are less likely to experience depression. Now, I will also say that I talked about these different types of depression and why you experience them. And so, like, with like postpartum depression, with that one, that is like after you have a baby, things like that, you tend to sometimes women will become detached from their friends that they have before their baby, or they may become detached from that baby that they gave birth to at that time. But also, women can experience postpartum depression years after giving birth. And it has a lot of connection to post-traumatic stress disorder, hypersexuality, and these other disorders, where if you don't ever deal with it, you don't ever heal from it. It's just very simple. And so you have to deal with it. You gotta deal with it to heal, from it, in a sense. And so I didn't really experience postpartum depression, but I know other women who have. And I don't personally know what that is like, but women have shared with me, and I'm very grateful that women will share their, how would I say, their secretive part of themselves, the vulnerable part. That's what it is, really, the vulnerable part of themselves. Women have shared with me. And what they experience during postpartum depression, it not only harm them, but it also harms their ren, at that time, unfortunately. So that is something that I think really needs to be evaluated. Why is a lot of women after giving birth experiencing postpartum depression? What is the environment, the situation, really? Why is that happening? And then another one is seasonal affective depression. That one is basically like where you may be living in a colder area where it's not a lot of sun, it's cold a lot, maybe it snows a lot. And so, due to that and the lack of that sun and that warmth, and having to be in the house more, things like that, that can cause you to experience depression. Um, and At least with that one is more likely to overcome from it, right away, and not see it as severe as someone like myself who experienced major depression. Like I said, the lack of the willpower. That one is really hard to get over. Situational depression, based off of the situation where you live, the person you're with, people you're dealing with. That's situational depression, your job, things like that. And I know some people will argue that, oh, being depressed because of your job is it doesn't make sense, but it does if that's the job that pays your bills and that's the job that you want to be happy at. But there's things there that is stopping you from being happy. Then, uh, yeah, that is what causes the depression. Um, Let me see what else I got here. So, yeah, so that's just pretty much on the depression. So, like I said, for me, I definitely experienced major depression, and it was not pleasant when I experienced it, and it went on for years, like over 10 years I experienced it. And so even during being a mother, I still was suffering with it and just could not shake it. So it is wonderful that I can look back at that and learn and grow from that, understand what I was experiencing. And that's why I feel like my purpose is to help others be able to do the same thing, move forward in their lives, and not be experienced by past events that is still causing pain today. Like uh I don't feel for situations that happened even, 3 years ago, because, I understand how to let things go. Like, when one says let things go, they mean it as in you are not emotionally attached to this. In fact, you don't even have to think about it. You don't have to talk about it. And if you do talk about it, you're not upset about it. And so these are the things on how to let go. So build that willpower up, and if it's seasonal, get out more. If it's postpartum, hug your baby. Trust me, hug that ring, that infant. And so what was the other ones? Hold up real quick. I'll give a little more pointers. Persistent depression. I have to let's look up what the persistent depression is. And then psychotic depression. Psychotic deals with your psychological mind. So you may be experiencing some psychological issues that is also causing depression. So that one you have to address the psychological part first. Then you'll be able to nurture the depressive part. And then p premenstrual dysphoric disorder. I did experience that as well. Prior to coming on my menstrual cycle, I would get rageful. People like to joke and say that, oh, she's a bee because she's experiencing, or because she's mad and angry and stuff like that. But it's actually a chemical imbalance that happens in the body and the woman that causes her to behave like that. So it's called premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So I hope I'm giving out some good information to you all. We got about 15 more minutes, and then I'm gonna close out. Not sure when I'm gonna be able to do this again, but I'm glad that I was able to do this. If you enjoy any of the information that I'm giving, please reach out to me, diamonddeals@hills.com, DAllieRich, LLC @gmail.com. That is my email. You're more than welcome to email me. Reach out to me. Let's interact, engage. Let's start this self-healing journey. Like I said, if you want to check out my podcast, look up D'Ali Rich LLC, and it is self-help mental. It is mental health self-help 101. Okay. And let's see what I can touch on this last 15 minutes real quick. So in this one, in one of my podcast episodes, in season 2 episode 7, I was really getting into this thing here, when I was writing these podcasts. Like, I really was getting into it. So I got some pages. But so with this one, let's talk about today's today's topic is the effect of mental health trauma, right? The effects of it. What is that? What is the effects of mental health trauma? Denial, not accepting your problem. Okay. Shame, feeling bad for not wanting relationships. What is this? Masking, cover up your feelings. A lot of people tend to mask how they really truly feel. I do it a lot. I need to stop that. Like I said, I'm on a healing journey. So, accepting and not being in denial, acknowledging my flaws so I can work on them. I understand we're not all perfect, neither am I, but I like to say we're all perfectly imperfect, or imperfectly perfect. That's right. Imperfectly perfect. Everything is right and wrong where it needs to be on this avatar anyway. But coping, denial with your problems. Yeah, when you are coping with it, you are you are dealing with the problem. Coping, you are dealing with the problem. I had to repeat that because I feel like I didn't say it right. Addiction, possessions, obsession, clingy, needy, dependent on others, substance abuse. All right, so let's really get into the effects of that, right? So when one is in denial, you are not accepting what your issues are. You are not accepting what your problem is. How can you fix something that you don't know what it is? Or you know what it is, but you don't want to accept it. How can you address an issue if you're claiming that it's fake? it took a lot for me to accept the fact that I had been a piece of shit for a very long time. Just the way that I conduct myself and did things in the past. And once I accepted that, I was like, oh, this all makes sense. This is why so and so said this to me. This is why so and so did this to me. This is why me and so don't talk no more. This is why we have no relationship, right? Is because I fucked up. So yeah, so I denial is number one up there. It is start number one. Like, yeah, denial, because that is the biggest lock on the door to getting to your healing journey. Like, it's a big wall, you gotta push through that denial. And then shame, right? One of the reasons why we deny things is because that feeling of shame is something where you're feeling bad for not wanting relationships, or you're feeling bad because you don't want relationships with someone, right? I just said the same thing twice. I just realized that. But you feel bad because you want the relationship with someone, but it doesn't work out. Right, it just doesn't work out. Or maybe you said or did something in that relationship, and so now you feel shameful, for what you said, or maybe you're ashamed of, how the conversation went, the way you react, and things like that. So, shame comes with denial, and so to eliminate shame, you gotta go ahead and get past denial. um Masking, covering up your feelings, not being able to fully communicate and express your feelings and thoughts is something that is going to hinder you um on your healing journey. We must be able to express our feelings, but we want to do it accurately. And what I mean by that is I can express my feelings while acknowledging someone else's. And if you cannot express your feelings while acknowledging someone else, you'll find yourself covering up your feelings. You will find yourself denying how you really truly feel about a situation, about how a person made you feel. And I've done this a lot in the past where, I'm like, well, I've even made excuses for individuals like, oh, well, maybe they're just like that because they're going through something. They'll get over it, and or not that they'll get over it, but when they get over it, maybe they'll be better to me, right? Covering up my own feelings, man. Shit, we got to stop doing that one. That one will get you hurt. Covering up your own feelings will definitely get you hurt. Coping, dealing with your problems. So sometimes we deal with our problems, but we are not understanding what the problem is, and we are not looking to solve the problem. We're just coping with it. It's there, maybe we feel like argument, a cuss out. I'll set that person straight. We think that is dealing with a problem when it's just coping, right? It's just coping. You need to figure out, deal with the underlying truth. All right, so yeah, so you want to deal with your issues, not just deal with them, but you want to really understand it, so that you can accept it, right, and move forward. Addiction would be like possession of others, possessions of property, possession of material things, obsession, clingy, needy, being obsessed with someone, their title, and feeling they owe you these things because of that. Being needy, being constantly wanting someone to be there for you while you're not being there for them. Being dependent on others, you're constantly dependent on others to do everything for you. This person got to do this person need to do that, and when they're not doing it, it's their fault that your life is going downhill because they didn't do this for you. It's their fault, because of you, right? And then substance abuse, constantly drinking, smoking, things like that. You want to be healthy, clear-headed. You want to focus on the right things. So that is that. That is pretty much that. On that one, how much I got? Oh man, I still got 5 minutes. I can talk for 5 more minutes. If you like my videos and my content, please check out The Alley Rich LLC on all other platforms: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. I am all there. I'm also on Whatnot. And also have my own website, diamonddealsathills.com. Please check it out. I am paying for that website. I pay out of pocket for that website. Please check me out. Please contact me. I will never be upset that you are contacting me on something that I literally have set up for people to contact me. So please, please, please reach out to me. If you're ready for your healing journey, reach out to me. Remember my podcast. My podcast is The Alley Rich LLC, Mental Health Self-Help 101. Okay, if you can't find it, leave a comment. I'll definitely get back with you. Message me directly. Like I said, you can message me on Facebook. You can message me. You can't really message on YouTube, but you can leave a comment on YouTube. Also, D. Alley Rich LLC 5 is my TikTok handle. You can reach me over there. I have a TikTok shop as well, where I sell my crystal and copper jewelry. I sell candles. I sell herbs, holistic healing. Everything that I do is based off of mental health and healing yourself from mental health trauma. Also, I do yoga. If you like doing yoga, I do yoga and also do singing bowls. I also have journals available for you if you are interested in getting a journal, something to help you heal on your journey. My crystal copper jewelry designs are specifically put together to help heal the chakras. Once you heal your chakra, you can heal yourself from mental health. That is actually the last thing I'm going to talk about before I close out of here is my book. My last 3 minutes is going to be about my book, Diamond Deals That Heals, Balancing Chakras with Crystals to Help Heal Mental Health. This book right here, it is available on Amazon. And just reading a little bit about who I am in this book. Alicia Richardson is an entrepreneur. It says 2 years at this time, but I'm actually entrepreneur now of 6 years. I've spent my younger years in the food and beverage industry, traveling with employers to have experience experiences of a lifetime. I wrote this stuff, y'all. I come from the hood, but I wrote this. I'm really good at writing. I didn't know. I didn't even graduate, but I'm a good writer. Okay, let me continue. And so 7 years of practicing spirituality. I've never practiced spirituality. I didn't even know what spirituality was. But I will tell you that I definitely was practicing holistic healing. And I noticed that I wanted to have more control over my life, my health, my finances, and my emotions, most importantly. Soon I changed my diet and I started to battle with life issues such as addictions and mental health challenges. This is true. It wasn't easy dealing with sudden changes and not feeling any positive benefits from it. As I continued to learn new information about more holistic well-being healing practices, I discovered shining rocks that can produce electricity. I thought they were very cool, and I learned that they are called gemstones and crystals, and I started wrapping them, and I'm wearing them, and I sell them to other people as well. So please reach out to me. Check me out. I'm going to go live here on Facebook, and I'm going to go live over on TikTok, D. Alley Rich LLC 5. Where my TikTok shop is, I'll be over there making herbs. You can place an order. You can chat with me. We can talk. I am a real person. I don't scam anybody. I've sold to 25 states in this country. Okay, I've sold to half the country, and I've got numerous reviews on Google. You can find D.Ali Rich, D.I.A.L.I. Rich LLC on Google. You can find me on Google. You can see my reviews, maybe some complaints I'm unaware of. But yeah, look me up. Come and discover your self-healing with my assistance. I cannot tell you how to heal yourself. I can only share my experience and my tools with you, and only you will know how to work them, because the true answers are within us. All right, y'all. I am D.Ali Rich. I am also DiamondDeals.heals.com. And if you follow me on Lexi Diamond, I'm Lexi Diamond as well. Yes, I have a lot of accounts. And I'm also darkness. So love light with a little bit of darkness. And I'm also the darkness and the light on TikTok. So yes, I have a lot of platforms. I have a lot of names because I am very social. Love you all. You all have a great and wonderful days. And yes, this is the Matrix. This is a simulation, but you do not have to experience hell, because we have the power to control what is at least around us and how we think and feel eternally. That's my message.